To start things off, I'm just feeling grateful. I mean, kind of like you said, the caliber of human that comes to our events is next level, and we provide that container, but those humans fill it up, and there's just so much positive energy in the room, and hope, and collaboration, and connection, and it really just makes the culture of CultureCon.
Welcome to the official CultureCon podcast, where we explore how work actually works.
We're your hosts, Zach Blumenfeld
and Nick Lombardino.
Whether you're leading a team, shaping culture, or just passionate about making work more meaningful, you're in the right place.
Each episode will bring you stories, insights, and bold ideas from people who are building better workplaces and better work experiences.
The official CultureCon podcast starts now.
Oh, dude, how many days since CultureCon has it been?
We kicked the conference off officially exactly a week ago.
Exactly a week ago.
Yeah.
And you and I have been asleep now for half of those days.
I just woke up 30 minutes ago, so that's about right. Got my coffee.
Man, they always go by fast, but it just felt like this year in particular for CultureCon 2025, it just flew by.
Flew by, yeah. So quick.
Yeah, so for the listeners, at the time that we're recording this episode, it's been about a week since we wrapped out CultureCon 2025, and Zach and I debated whether or not we wanted to treat this episode as a recap of some of the main talking points from some of the sessions that just had a lot of the people buzzing in the audience, kind of key takeaways and just really, really trending topics, if you will. But we know that's going to be a focus in future episodes, both from individuals that Zach and I were interviewing at the conference and some of our partners as well. So I think for this episode, we just thought it'd be fun to kind of do a little bit of a reflection on what event planning was like for the two of us, not just for this conference, but in conferences leading up to this one, and just kind of what those core learnings were, because we know so many people listening to the podcast are community builders themselves. So, whether you're building your own conferences or whether you have your own communities of practice or peer-to-peer learning groups, we just thought it'd be kind of fun and humbling to share some things that we've learned along the way and how we're still trying to improve these types of containers that we're creating moving forward. So, it's a common joke, but Zach and I still don't think of ourselves as, accomplished event planners. I think we've just had the good fortune of having a lot of incredible individuals in our community who have kind of helped offer feedback and coaching and guidance along the way. And now we're starting to get to the point where it feels like we have much more intentional structure, let's say. So with that, Zach, what thoughts come to your mind right out the gate?
To start things off, I'm just feeling grateful. I mean, kind of like you said, the caliber of human that comes to our events is next level, and we provide that container, but those humans fill it up, and there's just so much positive energy in the room, and hope, and collaboration, and connection, and it really just makes the culture of CultureCon. So feeling very grateful to everyone who joined us in person in Madison and virtually. It was the biggest CultureCon to date, over 635 total tickets, 6 countries represented. What was really cool is I feel like with Cove's badge scanning technology and connection tools, they just level up every event. So this year we were able to make over 3,200 connections throughout the conference, which also means $5,000 are donated to our nonprofit partners. So that's really cool to see. Connections are really the heart of the event. So to see that quantified, I'm sure more than that number was created throughout the event, but that's always cool to see is how many connections are made throughout the conference.
Yeah, and one of the incentives, in addition to having people make these connections through Cove's badge scanning technology, that of course leads to our philanthropic fund. But another fun way that we try and get people to help us make more donation dollars is that Experience Madison bingo card challenge, Which I think is probably a really good segue into just what we've learned over the years in hosting an event in Madison, Wisconsin. And I think one of the pillars is that Madison is a core piece of this CultureCon equation and what equates to positive experiences for all of our stakeholders. So for those of you who don't know, Zach and I grew up in Madison. I still live here. Zach comes back all the time, but I
I'll move
think
back someday. Don't worry,
someday,
I'll be back.
what's that little like robot reminder where you can say, remind me 60 days. And then
Yeah.
we can check in on, um, yeah, no, it's just like, there's so much to celebrate of Madison's community and how it actually folds into the conference experience. So of course we want to create an environment at our conference that's welcoming and fun, where people feel like they're accepted into a broader community and that they belong. And those are like core tenets of why people stay and live in Madison. It's just people are so friendly. There's so much to do, so much just like cultural elevation all around the city. And I think one of our longest standing CultureCon traditions is to get people out of the venue on day 2 of the conference and doing Madison's food truck scene. And so, yeah, so I just think, obviously we're biased because we've grown up here, lived here, worked here, but it's just like, it's the perfect backdrop for a conference like ours. And so it's just, that's one of the main takeaways over the years, is just like celebrating the city that our conference is housed in, and being able to get people out of the venue and experience the city in a deeper way.
Yeah. And it was cool, like when we went on stage to welcome everyone to the conference. I remember I asked how many people's first time it was in Madison, Wisconsin, and over half the hands in the room came up. And that was just cool to see. In my mind, I was thinking, oh yeah, they're in for a treat here. And Madison showed off last week. I mean, it was perfect temperature, a little hot and humid one of the days, but we have survived that food truck lunch with no rain any year, so that's pretty cool. I just jinxed it for next year, but the past couple of years have gone well. What I thought was really cool, and this happens every year, but I think more so this year, is just the amount of LinkedIn recap posts that mentioned all the connections, all the learnings from our amazing speakers, but almost all of them had a section about Madison. It was a picture at the Union or James Madison Park or a sunset or the Capitol or Bucky Badger, or I saw a lot of cheese curds pictures this year. And that just warms my heart that so many people are enjoying our city. And I mean, Vegas is great. I love waking up and being able to play a little craps before kicking off the conference. But Madison is special, and it just creates an entirely different vibe for the conference. And it is the perfect backdrop for our community.
I mean, it's just conducive to making connections. I think that's the key takeaway, because as you and I learned over the years, I think when we started the event, it's not to say that we didn't think that connections were going to be a massive part of hosting a successful conference, but maybe we thought that it was more content driven from like what the learnings were going to be from speakers, let's say. And now I know that you and I feel like a lot of people come to the event because of the trending topics and the speakers and the content that's going to be presented, but they really stay for the connections, right? And so it's like we've had to adjust our structure and our programming over the years to create more space for both like organic and dare I say like engineered synchronicities that happen among
I love
attendees.
that phrase. I love it.
I didn't come up with it, obviously. If anything remotely smart comes out of my mouth, it's because I stole it from other people. But yeah, it's just kind of like, what do we need to do from how we structure the conference to make sure there's enough space for people to be able to really connect with one another? And that could be something as simple as creating more gaps in the day between speaker sessions. So like longer duration breaks, so that people have the ability to like have space to connect with one another, or maybe just even take a beat. You know, it's like, even for us extroverts, conferences like CultureCon, it's a lot. It's like high energy, lots of connection. So even having space to be able to just have time to yourself, connect with a coworker, right? Even charge a device. It's like those are things that I think are really important to bake into the conference. But then on the flip side, it's like doing things that are a little bit more experiential for attendees to do with one another. So we talked about the food cart lunch experience. That's amazing. Just getting people out of the venue and seeing the sun and going on walks. And in the past, we've even had like community bike rides that have happened together. Like those are opportunities that really elevate the overall conference experience and just help people make meaningful connections outside of the four walls of the conference.
Yeah, it's going to happen naturally just with the type of people that come to our conference, but I think one of the key learnings over the years is just like how can we create more space and more time for these connections to happen. So like you said, getting people out of the venue, whether that's an event like Mystery Trip taking place or people just going to James Madison Park and having a picnic one night, like things like that, I think really add to making connections, but making connections at a deeper level. And I think something else we learned is, and we've talked about this before, is that we thought that we wanted to grow this conference to be like a big, 4,000, 10,000 person conference, like one of the mega conferences. But with the topic of culture and the people that come to our event, people don't want that. It's overwhelming. People want to have more of a small, intimate setting. I mean, 600 people is still a lot of people, but it's manageable enough where you can still meet everyone. It doesn't feel too cliquey. You can get to know people during breaks. You can connect with sponsors, attendees. A lot of our speakers stay for the conference or a full day, so they're not just flying in and out, and you can connect with them. So it really adds to the culture of the conference.
There's like kind of like an intimacy there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And admittedly, I haven't been to very many like super large conferences, but what I keep hearing is that by having it be smaller, it feels less transactional. It feels like you're not just in a room with a sea of people, but to your point, it's like people that you meet on the first day are people you're still talking with and hanging out with on the last day, and then everyone that you're meeting in between. So yeah, that was something that we thought in the beginning. It was like bigger the better, but that we really found out pretty quickly that that's not necessarily the case, at least not for the type of experience and programming that we want to deliver. So I'm sure there are a lot of other conferences and communities where the bigger the better is the most valuable angle. It's just not for us. But yeah, I have to laugh at myself too, because there was a moment for this year's conference where I had to like stand up on stage and welcome people to the lunch on like the first day. And like in the spirit of wanting to get people out of the venue and doing something fun with other attendees, like the day one lunch was a boxed lunch. And then I got up on
Pretty
stage.
basic.
Pretty basic. But the reason for the boxed lunch is we were trying to get people to like get up, leave the venue, go up to the Capitol lawn, have lunch with one another in the shade, walk down to James Madison Park together. So I got up on the mic and I was like, all right, everybody, now it's time to kick off our boxed lunch experience. And like when I said it, it never clicked that I took like two words that are inherently just the lamest thing you could say and then tacked experience on the end
You
of
made
it.
it sound sexy. The box lunch experience. We got to throw that on a t-shirt.
Well, so how I found out that I said that was a friend of ours, Mike Maniaci, came up later and he was like, dude, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say boxed lunch experience. Like that's some sort of like super elevated thing, a gift for all the attendees. Oh, I was crying. I was laughing so hard. And then he actually used ChatGPT or something to like send us a t-shirt that said boxed lunch experience.
Shout out, Mike.
Shout out to Mike. Yeah. So, I mean, I am making fun of myself, but I think that just reinforces, the desire to want to get people out doing fun things together, whether that's a boxed lunch experience or a bike ride around town or walking down, in our case, State Street to go get food trucks with fellow attendees. Like, I think that has been maybe the most critical learning we've had over the years is just like celebrating the city that you're in outside with fellow attendees is a game changer.
Definitely.
And we're just lucky that Madison's the best city in the entire country. So
I would say the world,
the world
best city in
probably.
the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of game changers, I feel like we can't end this podcast without talking about our little puppet friends here.
What?
Got to give a shout out to David and Culture Puppets. You'll see puppets throughout the recap video, probably a lot of pictures on LinkedIn of puppets that resemble Nick and myself. And I thought that was just a silly thing that just got a lot of people laughing. It was good.
Well, now that you say that, though, I think that has been another, for you and I personally, another critical learning for the two of us was like, I had so much imposter syndrome in the early days of the conference because I felt like anytime I had to go up on stage, I had to be like performative or like talk about things that maybe I didn't feel like I was an expert in. And so what I think, at least for me, and I know you agree with this, is like we selfishly do silly things as part of the conference. For example, record a puppet show as like our welcome message. But we do it because for you and I to feel comfortable at our own conferences, we need to feel like we have permission to be silly and have fun and not take ourselves too seriously. And so I think for anybody out there, whether you're hosting conferences or just work in general, any opportunity where you can infuse elements that make you feel comfortable and the authentic you to get over any sort of imposter syndrome voice in your head, like the better. So it's not to say I don't have nerves or get pre-conference jitters before going on stage, but relative to what it was not that long ago to now, and you and I hopefully being able to evoke some level of like fun and silliness, I feel way more comfortable.
Yeah, totally. I feel like what I've learned is that if I can get people to laugh, usually at you and I doing stupid stuff, most of my nerves go away before I get on stage. So I think that's like one of the big reasons I love our welcome videos is it's usually the most stupid 3 minutes of content a human will ever watch, but it usually gets someone to laugh. It makes us less nervous when we can go on stage and just be Nick and Zach. Like we can be authentic. And I think people will listen to you and resonate more with you when you're authentic rather than being performative. And so I think it just, yeah, it's a way to get rid of a lot of the nerves and allow us to be the people we are.
Who we are. Yeah, that's real. That's real. Well, so as we wrap up here, I think looking ahead, we got a couple conferences coming up. We got CultureCon West in Las Vegas, which is November 3rd through 5th. And then we have our first topic specific conference in Madison in April of 2026. So April 21st through April 23rd. And it's on AI. And I know I know that for you and I in the beginning, we maybe felt a little bit like, oh, hey, now we're just jumping on this AI bandwagon type of thing for programming. But from a audience demand standpoint, it's only getting more elevated. And I think for you and I personally, we're becoming increasingly excited to create conferences that have a topic specific focus that's of interest to you and I at a deep level too, right? This is another opportunity to infuse our own kind of interests and personalities into the communities that we're building. And AI for us, it's like, as much as we're excited to talk about how these tools are going to continue to change, how we connect with one another at work, how we're more productive, how we're more collaborative, it's also like really exploring these sometimes uncomfortable elements of how these tools are going to reshape how we think, feel, and behave as humans in the years to come. And so I'm just excited to have a conference where we're going to lean into both sides of the house, so to speak. And, I think I could use a little bit of a dose of optimism in how these tools can really pave a way for a brighter future. but not at the expense of us burying our heads in the sand and just hoping for the best. So I'm really excited for both conferences, but the AI one in particular because it's something new for us.
Yeah, something completely new. We've never done a topic specific conference. It's probably the hottest topic in the world, let alone our community. So being able to have a couple days of just focus on this topic, yeah, you made a good point. Like there's a lot of cool things and that can come from AI, but there's also a lot of fear out there. So how do we use it for good? How do we enhance the future of work? So yeah, I'm excited. Should be fun. And then I was excited to get back to Vegas.
Always excited to hit the 6 a.m. craps table.
Yeah.
I've never played craps before. Actually, I'm too intimidated by it. Seems like a lot of
I'll teach you.
numbers.
I played a couple times.
People yelling at me. I get that.
I taught Nate Basso how to play last year, and I think he won like $10,000.
Okay, well, I'm no Nate Basso, but if that's the potential return, then I'm ready. Okay, now we're off the rails. So I guess to close out, if anybody listening is building a community themselves and you'd ever like to pick our brains on lessons learned, best practices, we are so excited and eager to be able to give you just a candid report out on what's worked for us over the years. And in the spirit of abundance, the more we can do to get people together around common interests, we'll all be better for it. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
That's a wrap on this episode of the official CultureCon podcast.
If you got something out of it, share it with a friend, teammate, or fellow culture geek.
And don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Until next time.